Elaine, I have a story I want to tell you to kind of, I guess, lead us into this week's episode.
Okay.
I was thinking about it a lot recently, and I felt I just needed to share. So in my college, we had those waffle makers, like the ones where you pour the batter in and it makes the waffles, which are always like way better than they should be. You know, I loved those things. But my college was like almost like a parent who was like, you're only allowed to have them on Tuesdays. So they'd only put them out like once a week, you know, so it was a special day. You got to go up there and get your waffles. One other fact you need to know for this story is I lived at the bottom of campus, and my art class that I was on my way to as this story happened was a 10-minute uphill walk with the dining hall in the middle.
Okay.
This was like, I think, late sophomore year. I stopped being early. I was going to be like at least a minute and a half late already.
You've given up at that point.
I get into the dining hall and I go, oh my God, there's the waffle machine. Because I would never eat at that dining hall when it was waffle day, but I decided to that day, and there was no line because there was always a line. Everybody wanted the waffles and there was no line. So I go up there, I make my little waffle, I wait my 2 minutes, and I'm cutting it close, but I'm like, you know what? I deserve this waffle. And I pick up the syrup container. In my head, I'm like, this feels a little light, but like, that's not the point. It doesn't matter. So I pour the syrup all over it, and I'm like, that sunk into the waffle a little too fast. That didn't look like syrup, but I didn't think about it that much because, again, I had like 8 minutes to go to class. So I sit down and I take a bite, and I felt my soul reset as I realized I flashed back to the dumplings we had 4 days earlier with the soy sauce that was in the same container that they kept the syrup. I just pictured it and I saw it in front of my eyes, but I'm sitting here like, shit, I can't make another waffle. So I ate the whole fucking thing, and it tasted so bad. I don't know why I did it. Like, I should have just been late. I should have just said, hey, professor, I had a horrible experience. You would understand if you had felt it. But no, I decided I must be a good student and eat my shitty soy sauce waffle. And here's the thing, I didn't even tell anyone. Like, I think I wanted it to happen to someone else out of like retribution with the universe.
Evil person, I love it.
They looked, I will just say,
how would you describe the taste? Walk me through this Asian Waffle House fusion.
I love soy sauce. I love soy sauce. It's like my favorite sauce, you know? But if you pour a syrup's amount of soy sauce into a waffle, it tasted like brine. Like it tasted like post puke, you know? Like it was like a post puke, a sweet little postpartum. And here's the thing, I poured syrup on top of it to try and make it better. It didn't make it better. It made it like worse, if anything, because my body was just like, what the fuck is happening? But I guess wanted to say it as a warning for people to be careful. Like, hey, make sure your syrup is in soy sauce. Because
our new thing at Wonka Watch is we want to have a helpful PSA to all our listeners. And so today's lesson is check the syrup in case it's soy sauce.
Honestly, the main reason I wanted to tell that story is I thought Elaine would get a kick out of it and make fun of me for it.
Really fucking enjoyed it. And I indeed will be making fun of you.
So speaking of things we've enjoyed today, we're going to be taking like a little bit of a weird one. Like a little bit of a weird one, guys. Ew. And now that we're finished with the book, we are utilizing our ability to go into the outer reaches of the Wonka canon, the tentacles and the roots that sling down the wall of the Wonka Well.
We're going down a water slide.
The Wonka Waterslide!
Wee! One at a time, though.
You know what water slide I always think about? It's not a water slide. It's a log flume.
Because there's so many I think about every day. I need you to be specific.
Don't at me like that. It's at Hershey Park, which we are probably going to talk about one day because it's a candy theme park
someday. Yes.
Yeah, I've been a few times, but there's a log flume they have there that just doesn't have any straps. Just none.
No.
And you just hold on to the side of it. And every time I ride it, I go, this can't be safe. How is this safe?
How the fuck are they okay with that? I hate rides that are like, the gravity takes care of it. Bull fucking shit.
No, this one, the gravity doesn't take care of it because your butt's fucking flying off the seat every time. And I'm like, what the fuck is it? How is this okay? It's very fun. I think it's called like the Coal Chaser or something like that because they're like Pennsylvania mines, you know? But like, every time I read
sorry,
it,
wait,
I'm
for
like,
people
how?
not in hold on, people not in Pennsylvania, what are the mines? What are the
We just
Pennsylvania
have a lot of
mines?
mines.
It
I
just
don't
sounded
know.
so secretive, like a cavern system. Like Ohio has a shit ton of caverns, and we had
I mean,
all of our
we have
government
a lot
cheese
of
in it.
we have a lot of caverns, but there's like a whole like Pennsylvania coal miners. Like that's a whole thing here. Like you can go on trains and be like, this is where the coal miners used to go on trains. I don't know. It's
Oh
not
my
that
gosh, I want to do a tour with you.
of the coal mining train.
Yeah, and then I can show you
I just
all.
remember there was a trolley that went really deep underground, and I just remember vividly having a panic attack as a 5-year-old. That's all I remember.
I mean, I don't want to put you through that, but a trolley that goes underground sounds like a fucking day, like a dream come true.
Yeah,
so hear me out.
it sounds
I go to
incredible.
Pennsylvania, we go through the coal mines, but you come to Charleston, and I'll be like, here's all our fine dining and beaches.
I'm like, here's Valley Forge where all the men got hypothermia. Here's the Liberty Bell. Look, but don't touch.
Love a good crack in a
There's
bell.
I don't know what house is. I think it's fucking Ben Franklin's house. You go to Ben Franklin's house and it's like 2 fucking pieces of wood just like sticking out of the ground, and you're like, this isn't a house. Stop it. You know this isn't a house. And they're like, this is where a wall was once.
Oh, we have to do ghost tours in both our places as well.
Oh man.
There's nothing scarier probably than a minor ghost, and
You know
also
what?
an antebellum ghost. Ooh, they are pissed.
You know what's scarier than being in a ghost tour?
Tell me, Felicia.
Being in your college dorm as a ghost tour walks by chanting with big flashlights pointed at your building.
Why are they chanting?
I don't know why they were chanting, Elaine.
No. And that's not a ghost tour anymore. That's a ghost group.
I think
you
they
know
were
what I mean.
very
There's a
drunk,
difference.
and I think they were singing to something.
Oh, a drunk ghost tour.
So that's what they were doing, but I
Adding that to my
never
list.
have I just, now that I'm on a ghost tour, I will never be able to not imagine what it's like for the person inside the building, because me and all my friends were just staring outside the door and they're like, what the fuck do they want? Like,
And
we
then
thought
you're
we were
like,
gonna die.
Wait, there's a fucking ghost here?
Speaking of scary, spooky things,
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
today we are going to be diving into an obscure piece of Wonka media called Willy Wonka's Secrets of Magic, a 90s promotional VHS tape for the Wonka brand of candy.
We'd like to thank our underground Wonka dealer for supplying us with this.
It's been very helpful. We
really love you. You know who you are. Thank you.
This is available on YouTube, so we will put the link to it in the description. But before we like really dive into it,
we're at the edge of the pool,
I've
dipping our toes.
got a little Wonka Watch, actually. I don't know.
God.
Like,
stop it.
It's
no
here,
way.
Actually, isn't that creepy?
Oh my gosh, I'm like blushing. Stop it.
Oh my god.
Tell me a little more. Tell me a little more. What's going on?
So did you hear that Wes Anderson he's directing another Roald Dahl movie? Because he did like the Fantastic Mr. Fox before.
Oh, yeah.
And he signed up to do one with Netflix because of their whole Roald Dahl mega deal, you know?
Yeah.
He's going to be adapting The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, which is like kind of a shit name, but we'll move on. And it's about a gambler who develops the ability to see through cards and then opens a number of orphanages. Starring Benedict Cumberbatch.
I have a couple of follow-up questions. First off, can we refer to it as dollars?
The dollars.
I'm making dollars, you know. Thank you. That's my first. I'm going to send that to the comment section. Your input box.
Good. It's good.
Next. It involves gambling and orphanages. Is an interesting combo.
Yeah.
And Benedict Cumberbatch. How do you feel about him? What's your take on him? Are you you think he's a handsome otter man?
No, I am incredibly neutral to that man.
Yeah,
same. I would not notice him if
Thank
he walked
God.
down the street next to me.
No, I think, and that's his whole deal.
So we're not excited about the Benedict Cumberbatch casting, but you know who is in
not.
this? Who we should be excited about?
Hugo Loompa,
Dahl Patel, baby. So we're not getting Dahl Patel Wonka, but we're getting
yes,
a Dahl Patel, a Dahl Patel.
Dahl Patel. Dahl Patel. No, wait. Really important. I mean, I'll be okay either way. Is it live action? Like I will see all of Dahl Patel, or is it just voices over animation?
From what it seems to be live action. It might be an anthology.
Ooh.
We're not sure, like an anthology film. So
Dahl
that's
Patel.
what we learned.
Hey,
and then,
did we like dream that up? I feel like we put that into the universe.
I know.
The universe said we will give you your Dahl Patel.
Elaine, did we manifest that?
Oh my gosh. Hey, it only took positive thinking and a little dash of insanity to make it happen. And you guys can do it. Oh my gosh. Buy our self-help book for $50 and you can do it.
Unfortunately, though, we may be in the Wonka Well for longer than we thought.
No, don't do this to me again. Don't do this to me again, Felicia.
There have been some filming delays.
No.
Filming for the upcoming Wonka production will return to the streets of Oxford next month. It was due to take over Merchant Street in December, but has been pushed to February 15th and 16th. The road will be decorated in a traditional 1940s and 1950s style for filmmaking, utilizing fake snow for the scene. So, there's just like a chance that like we might be in this hell a little bit longer than we think. So if in a few weeks we're going like June 2023, don't say anything. March 2023 has a ring to it, and I'm gonna be pissed.
Wouldn't it be cute if the movie came out on one of our birthdays?
Oh my
or like
God.
In between our birthdays, so it's like a combo birthday celebration.
But do I want to share my birthday with the Wonka Rapture?
So here's what happened to me. Camp Rock came out on my birthday, and my friend and I used to have this debate of like Camp Rock came out on my birthday or my birthday is on the day that Camp Rock came out. It's a different vibe when you say it. You know what I mean? It's like Camp Rock has the power. And I think that would actually be pretty difficult to deal with. I think if it's your birthday happened on Wonka, but if it's mine, Wonka happened on my birthday. Because I'm older, so I make the rules. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry. It doesn't have to be that way. I'm sorry. No, your face just looks so sad in that moment.
Confused. I don't know what you're saying.
Sorry. Felicia was just telling me
to be you on the podcast.
Felicia was just telling me before recording that she only has 3 facial expressions, and I think it's explaining a lot for me when I try to gauge how you're reacting to things. I'm like, I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry because I talk a lot. Okay, it happens. I hit play
I've just
and I leave my body.
My eyes are so small that they just look like little lines, and like okay, Elaine, look at me. This is the widest I can open my eyes.
So, nothing happened.
Literally.
Now look at me, because this is great for listeners. Look at me. This is how wide I can make my eyes go.
Oh my God. Literally, I'm like,
was that horrifying?
Someone's like, act shocked, and I'm like,
you look like you're staring down at your bowl of cereal. You know, like that's the. You're like, oh, you're like, oh, I got a few extra marshmallows in my Lucky Charms. Wow.
I look neutral to mildly annoyed, literally, no matter what emotion I'm having. That's it. That's all I have.
Hey, Felicia. Yeah, so magic. Tell me more about magic.
Boom, bam, pow. What does it say in the cards? They say it's time for us to talk about the Willy Wonka Secrets of Magic.
Magic. What is the Willy Wonka Secrets of Magic, Felicia? Who's Mark Sweet, and why do we care?
Okay, so I guess the main things you need to know is this is, as I said earlier, a 90s VHS promotional tape. The Wonka brand's Willy Wonka, who's played by Mark Sweet, explaining the secrets of magic. And Mark Sweet's Wonka is a very different vibe from any other Wonka in canon.
So true.
And he's fascinating. And I think I just want to talk a little bit about the history of the brand before we really break down this video, because I think that kind of will work better. Mm-hmm. So first, my first headline in here is, who the fuck is Mark Sweet? Which has a link to a Wikipedia article. So he is an American hypnotherapist, comedian, magician, and host. So basically he made a career out of being like the warm-up act for comedy tapings. So like he would do the warm-ups for like Seinfeld and things like that to get the crowd rolling and things like that. And he did hypnotism on like The Late Show with Jimmy Fallon, and he started learning magic when he was 5 years old, from a local magic shop owner in his town. So basically,
he's a Disney movie.
There was basically it really feels like the story of like a fake person.
Yeah.
I found this genuinely fascinating interview with him on collectingcandy.com, which was like all about candy marketing and candy business. I know, it's really up our street. So Mark Sweet said about it, basically when he was 5, my dad would bring me into the magic store, which was next to a deli in the Fox building. And I remember him saying once, "If you finish your milk, I will buy you a magic trick." I never had any toys as a child, just magic tricks, which is so sad.
Oh no, see, that's a great sad beginning to his Disney movie.
So by the time that he was 8, he was doing magic shows for like kids' 5th birthday parties. And like he was getting like busy, like he was doing a few shows a week, so he kind of kept the gig going. And as an adult, he found himself working at trade show industry, so he would be like the entertainment for the Toyota Corolla trade show. Like it is like such a specific job. In 1972, he was picked up by a trade show agent named Gene Bullard, who took him to meet the Willy Wonka people, which was the Willy Wonka Candy Company, which was owned by Quaker Oats, which we know from the history of the movie. So like while they didn't make the Wonka bar, they did make the Willy Wonka Candy Company for a while.
Okay.
He performed a little bit of close-up magic for them, and he was hired on the spot to perform a 3-day trade show for the National Candy Wholesalers Association as Willy Wonka. So he was hired not to sell candy to consumers, but to people who supply candy. Do you know what? So like he was there to like convince Target to buy the Willy Wonka candy.
And his can we pause? His name is Mark Sweet.
I know. It seems fake.
Destiny.
It's truly, I'm not joking, people on the podcast. I am so fascinated by everything about this story.
This is really cool.
So basically, he calls them the candy brokers, which is wild. So he said that the candy brokers at the time loved his Willy Wonka appearances because it gave them a vehicle to help sell and promote the line. And then he mentions the 2 products they have at the time, which I have never heard of once in my life, which are called Super Skrunch and Oompas.
Oompas.
Yeah. So I'm gonna send you a little image I found thing. So it's kind of a promotional art that is for the Wonka candies.
Willy Wonka's the name. Candy's my game.
So the Super Scrunch, I cannot parch with the Super Scrunches. It looks a little bit like a square dog turd.
It's like a thick Kit Kat bar.
It's like a really thick Kit Kat bar,
but
it almost looks like there's sawdust inside. And I don't say that to be mean.
If you had a magical golden dog
like
that ate Kit Kats and then shat it out, that's what this looks like. So I see why this didn't last at all.
You know what it looks like? It looks like chocolate-coated nutritional yeast.
Oh my god. Also, Scrunch, I would like to clarify, is spelled Skrunch.
And then peanut butter Oompas just seem to be Reese's Pieces.
And how is that? Like, that feels wrong. Like, I don't know if it's like, you know what I mean? Because the Oompa Loompas are, a complicated topic in general. So I don't know if naming a candy after them is like, something feels real wrong about that. In addition, wait, I'm sorry. The tagline for peanut butter Oompas is like a peanut butter cup in a neat candy coat, which is the nickname I'm using for you now. Felicia's just a little peanut butter cup in a neat candy coat.
Earlier in the ad, Willy Wonka says, kids think they're Wonkaful. Can't get enough of them. You'll like everything about them, especially the turnover. Because this is being sold to people who sell candy. Like, this is not for people who these are not
the
for
graphic
kids
design
buying
is
the
not
candy.
good either, and there's no excuse for timing.
I love this Wonka drawing.
Of course you do.
I think he's sick.
Of course you do.
Can we please add this Wonka drawing to the Fuck, Marry, Kill Wonka episode we have planned?
Yes. People are like, what? And I'm like, shh, don't worry about it. This is happening. Also, I'm very excited to add Mark Sweet to our Wonkaverse, and now we can have I don't know what you want to call this Willy Wonka.
We could either call him Sweet Wonka. I think Sweet Wonka rolls off the tongue, but Mark Wonka is also incredibly funny.
Mark Wonka. Because I'm down. I love it.
I mean, I know we discussed calling book Willy Wonka Squirrel Wonka last episode, but I'm stuck on Roald Wonka. I'm calling him Roald Wonka.
Okay, done. Roald Wonka,
because
and now we
follows
have
the
Mark
naming
Wonka.
convention of first name, second name Wonka.
Mm-hmm. And can this cartoon Wonka guy be Skrunch Wonka? We won't talk about him a lot, but I feel like he'll randomly come up in our lives. Scrunchka. Is that like the Polish version of Wonka? What? Wow. This is amazing. Who knew there was so much connected to this tiny little video?
So now that we've looked at this, I have an image of one of Mark Sweet's first appearances as Willy Wonka in person in an ad, and I think we need to describe to the audience what Mark Sweet's Wonka looks like. He kind of has like ballet dancer pants on, and you know what I mean by that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. He looks like if Ted Danson had gotten a completely different career.
He does look like
Ted Danson, who tried to try out for one of those British period films, but he made his own costume and everyone was like, what's going on? His eyes are a little scary. Cover his mouth and just look at his eyes.
Yeah, it is a little. There is something about this costume that feels very like homemade. Like it feels like his like wife might have made it, and I'm not saying his wife in like a stereotypical sense. I'm just saying like it feels like something somewhat a family would put together for Halloween. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like a family who's good at Halloween costumes. Also, I want to say, so this Wonka kind of has like, he has these tan pants that are like super high waisted, like these are going up to his belly button. He's got a red ruffly shirt underneath, which is something I have not seen in any version.
No,
okay. That's new. He's got a purple like kind of twin tail coat, but it cuts off at the belly button, but it goes down to his like mid thigh for the
like
tail
a high-low dress, but a suit.
Yeah. But he has giant pink buttons on the front of it. I am talking like the size of your palm. Yeah. So it kind of looks like a child's costume that got turned big and put on a real guy. Yeah. Udders. And his hat looks a little bit like they bought it from like Party City. But that's okay.
Glue, gun, and felt is the vibe, I would say, for this whole outfit.
Yes. And in this image, he's just kind of standing there and he's like got his hands out and the Oompas and the Skrunch are like floating in the middle.
It's really
the
cool.
Oompas and the Skrunch is so wild. So there was also an ad for he would do magic shows as Willy Wonka for a while, and this is from an ad in a talent agency that said, Willy Wonka's the internationally known candy maker and magician. Yes, Willy Wonka himself, the debonair wizard that has entertained kids of all ages from coast to coast. Willy Wonka is a headline attraction, known throughout the company for his very popular movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and his line of unique candies such as everlasting gobstoppers, Oompas, wacky wafers, to name a few. Willy's show never has a dull moment, with great family comedy, magic with crowd participation, and always free candy for everybody attending. He is an ambassador of goodwill, a master of master showman, a real happening. It also has some shitty wizard clip art, which I do need to express to people. Like a super shitty wizard clip art.
As wild as this whole thing is, if you're gonna, like, Willy Wonka as a magician totally fits. Like, I think this is a marketing idea, actually makes sense as chaotic as it is. No, this really is clip art, you're right.
Yeah, it's like shitty Willy wizard clip art. Like, I'm not joking.
Shitty Willy wizard.
That's his brother. Later in the article, Mark Sweet kind of talked about, like, the interviewer was like, do you have any regrets? You have any
regrets? Is it possible that you have regrets?
Do you have any regrets doing it? And Mark Sweet was like, nah, man, I only had to work for like 90 days a year and I had consistent employment for 20 years. Like, I'm not giving that shit up ever.
20 years?
Yeah. He did this
lasted for 20 years?
Yeah. This was going on in the 90s.
Why have I never heard of this?
I know.
I guess because I didn't care about Willy Wonka until 2021. You're right. But
so,
still.
I also found another candy that came out during this era called Dina-Sour Eggs, which are the only giant sour jawbreakers on the market. And they're shaped like eggs. And they have 4 rings that change flavors and sour flavors, and it's all the work of Willy Wonka. And Willy Wonka said it's a breakthrough in consumer value, and this is kind of like, it's kind of getting to the stuff in the novel with this. Like, Willy Wonka calls it the 40-minute candy. Dina-Sour Eggs lasted 30 to 60 minutes in the actual consumer taste test, averaging 10 minutes per flavor ring. Although Abstract consumption varies by consumer. That's a lot of pleasure for the money. Weird. It's weird. And then something that if anyone has access to, please contact us.
WonkaRaptor@gmail.com.
So Mark Sweet's Willy Wonka did nutritional PSAs called Willy Wonka's Magic of Good Nutrition. But they were these like printouts, and I want to read them so bad.
Felicia just showed it to me. Oh my god.
He's like standing up top, like reaching out, and I can see like an illustration of a turkey down there. And it says, Willy Wonka says, hold on, good nutrition's as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4. Willy Wonka, young America's nutrition spokesman and the hero of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, has an important message for children and parents. Just back from a meeting with a nutritionist, Willy spells out the golden rule for good nutrition. Eating nutritiously is easy as long as you food groups. That's all I can read.
It gets covered by something. What Young America? Isn't this like the 1770s? Like what Willy Wonka Young America's nutrition like
I think this is
the adjectives were
point.
not I think the adjectives aren't in the right order. I think he's American's nutrition spokesman and they're saying he's young, which may be a stretch. I don't know.
Not.
We're all young at heart, I guess. Yeah.
Mark Sweet's role as Willy Wonka ended up coming to an end in the early 1990s after about 2 decades, which included hundreds of performances around the country, as well as numerous appearances on televisions and in print as the character. This I'm reading direct from the article because it was just like really well written and genuinely very helpful. And Mark Sweet he was asked about whether or not like the Gene Wonka, kind of like how that affected his part in playing this ad Wonka. And he said, oddly enough, Gene Wilder's name almost never came up. The PR angle was that Gene Wilder played my life story in the Willy Wonka movie. I seem to recall hearing at the beginning they tried to get Gene Wilder for appearances, but they heard back that he doesn't do commercial endorsements. Honestly, it came up maybe 3 times in 23 years, which I think is fucking bonkers.
Whoa. He really is like kind of his own thing then.
Yeah, Mark Sweet's Wonka is his own business. Like Roald Dahl never talked to this man, I'm sure. Like there was no mention of Roald Dahl. It was all connected to the 1971 film. There is one more thing that I am so upset that the full series is not available online, where Mark Sweet revealed that they filmed 76 half-hour daytime TV shows called Willy Wonka's Fun Factory.
Stop.
With a full puppet cast and Mark Sweet.
No.
And there was a puppet named Nelda Nerd and one called Timmy Tartan Tiny. And he said that he believes they were on every episode.
Timmy Tartan Tiny? Timothy Chalamet, we have a new rap name for you.
Timmy Tartan Tiny.
I'm Timmy Tartan Tiny.
Mark Sweet only was able to find like 3 minutes of it that was posted online. And don't worry, we will be talking about it later because I will never let this go. Are you kidding me? Puppet Wonka fucking exists. I'm never going to let that shit go.
It's my nightmare, but I'm happy for you.
But also, like, I learned there was, like, a whole cast of, like, character mascots for each of the different Wonka candies.
What?
So, like, you know that little weird thing on the Nerds box that kind of looks like a little comma that became, like, a little, like, if a comma got possessed by a turtle?
You mean, like, the nerd with legs and eyes
yeah.
thing?
Yeah, you know, the comma that got possessed by a turtle.
Yeah, no, it was a good explanation. I love it.
Comma frog. That's Nelda Nerd. Nelda.
My favorite name.
A name that exists. So that's Nelda Nerd, and I shit you not, I saw a sticker sheet with like 18 of these motherfuckers. Not of just nerds, just of all the different candies. Some of the names are like Betty Bottlecap, Timmy Tartan Tiny, Dee Dee Dinosaur, Marty Mix-Up, Nelda Nerd, Godfrey Godstopper, Wally Wacky Walter, and Justin Juice. Like, we're gonna be talking about them at a later date. Do not worry, guys. Do not worry. Learning about this has been one of the most fascinating parts of Wonka Watch so far for me because, like, I just never knew about this. Like, it's just fascinating.
But it went on for years, and this was like a big part of this man's career.
Truly
fascinating.
So now that we've discussed kind of the background of Mark Sweet's Wonka, we're going to get into the meat and po-teetees. And before we got on the air, we had a whole discussion about me saying meat and po-teetees and about where Elaine went through a whole emotional journey about it, and went from saying that is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life to then asking me for permission to use it, which is fascinating to watch as an observer. But the real meat and po-teetees of this episode, which is the Willy Wonka Secrets of Magic VHS itself. We didn't get it on VHS. It's on Mark Sweet's YouTube channel. It is, I think, about like 16 minutes. It's not long, which
12
I think
minutes,
the way
1 second.
You obtained this VHS by, I think, sending in boxes of like Wonka products. So it was like one of those, like,
Perfect.
if you eat 6 of these, put in 6 Skrunkles in this bag and send it to us, we'll throw it out and we'll send you the VHS. And could you imagine putting all that work in and realizing it's only 12 minutes long? Wouldn't you feel so cheated?
I got Skrunkles in the bag. VHS. Really, really sad. What the fuck?
Timmy Tart
from Tiny Timmy Tart. But yeah, no, that seems like a lot of effort just to have this. But hey, I don't know, a little bit life changing. So
it was pretty good.
Hard to
so,
say.
It kind of how do we describe how this video starts?
It is sound effects made clearly by a human. So so just imagine like single photos of a man just making silly poses, and then each time they change poses with a different like word overhead going through the candies, it just goes whoosh, whoosh. It sounds exactly like that. Like it seems like a parody, but it's real.
It's very.
It is.
Vibe. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. I'll probably put a few audio clips in here to kind of give you guys the vibe of like what Mark Wonka sounds like, because it's...
Hello, Justin. Hi, Lindsay. Are you ready to learn some Willy Wonka magic?
It's an experience. Do you know what I mean? It very much... Yeah. I don't think Mark Sweet was doing any character work with this character. I want to say that real quick. He is not like in the head of Willy Wonka. He's just... Hi, I am Willy Wonka, also known as Mark Sweet. Like, it is like, not a...
I'm not gonna lie, it just sometimes felt like it was Mark Sweet and he just happened to be dressed up as Willy Wonka.
Yeah,
like,
to
be honest, like you watch this video and we'll get obviously into it, but I was like, this whole video could have not had him be Willy Wonka, because it's really not vital to the plot whatsoever. Or
it literally doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't matter. That's why I love Mark Wonka, though. He says, fuck it. I do what I want.
I will say, so Mark Sweet's Wonka's top hat, it kind of looked collapsible to me, and I just
knew you were gonna fucking say that.
Doesn't it look
collapsible,
it was coming?
Though? It does. It does.
It
looks
this is why
like we need to talk to our marketing team, because I want our collapsible top hats to look a little more sturdy. I think that's possible. This is a little weak sauce right now.
That feels a little bit like your friend's dad. Well, you're in luck, because Mark Wonka is here for you. He's kind of got that energy of like, have you ever been to a friend's house when you were like a teenager and the dad is like trying to do a bit? Like trying to be like a little entertainer, and it's like, no one asked you for this. And like, we appreciate it, but also I'm confused.
Yeah. That's exactly the energy.
It's really the energy. Elaine, also, real quick, did you do magic as a kid? Were you like a magic kid at all, or?
No, magic to me would have required situations like birthday parties. And like the birthday parties I went to usually were like just my friend. You know, it was like 3 people. They weren't huge gatherings, and people weren't really hiring magicians. I think like I loved the idea. There was this one magician so when I grew up, my whole family went to church and they had the spaghetti dinner. It was a huge fucking thing. And like at the spaghetti dinner, they would sometimes bring a magician, and he would give you this green paper, and he would be like, put it under your pillow and $1 will appear. And it was like, ooh. And so you do it and it would happen. But really it's because you were getting tooth fairied by your parents and they had to go in there. So like this magician's like, here you go. And the parents like, motherfucker. Yeah, now I have to go and give them $1 bill. And he's and now like when I'm older, I can see who's like, hey. So that's my experience with magic. I think mostly like I enjoy watching it, but I get really stressed. I get really stressed when people might fail. I love gymnastics, but terrified the whole time. Extremely terrified.
I was obsessed with magic as a kid. Not really like obsessed with it, but I was fucking garbage at it is the thing. Because I have 1, no patience, 2, no dexterity, no awareness of what I look like or what I am doing. So
Those are important.
I got a magic kit, I think, when I was like 5. There was only one thing I knew how to do, and I did it so shittily and so obviously. And I would continuously watch magic videos and be like, maybe this is the one I finally get. Because I just could not do it. So I guess like here's the thing is I never did magic, but I like tried to learn magic so hard. Like, okay, another anecdote about Felicia as a kid that will give you a great idea of kind of what I was like. I remember one time I was on my TVs like on demand, just like looking around to see what was available back when like everybody still had cable and stuff. And I was getting deep in there and I found this on-demand sandcastle tutorial video, and I at 7 years old was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was watching it, I was like taking notes, I was like writing it down, and then I was like, I am going to be the best person at making sandcastles ever. I go to the beach, it's all shit, nothing works, but I do tell people about the did you know about the droop technique you can use for trees, where if you water the sand at the right capacity and you put it down and you drop it, it'll dry on top of the sand in the drooping shape, do you know? And they're like, you are 7, go to sleep. You know what I mean?
I feel like I just opened an envelope and it was just another puzzle piece I get to put into the Felicia puzzle.
I haven't thought about those videos in years, but I can picture the guy. He was like an old dude and he was wearing sunglasses and he was like, like it was probably just him and like his nephew who had like a video internship. Do you know what I mean?
I'm glad that those sassy poses of Mark Wonka really brought you back to all that. Okay, as someone who like is terrified of magic, I brutally rated these tricks one by one with their own little rating. So I'm ready to. And this is nothing against you, Mark Sweet. We love you, Mark Wonka. This is more about the
trick quality,
the execution.
So Mark, to give you an idea of what the video is like, they are in like basically kind of a black void.
They're in a dark basement.
Yeah, they're in a dark basement. Mark Wonka's sitting there in a chair, and there's a girl and a boy sitting next to him. There's these 2 kids,
Justin and Lindsay.
They don't need to be here. They really don't need to be here.
They kind of mess it up, if I'm honest.
Because Mark Wonka will be like, oh, do you see that? And give them a space to respond. But like the way he says it, no matter what they say, he's going to keep going. Like it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally. Like at one point he was like, he's explaining a trick and he goes, would that be a good trick? Say yes. And then the little girl goes, yes. Like it was really creepy and intense.
Would that be a good trick? Say yes. Good.
Yeah. So the first trick is like some card trick where it's like, oh, if you look at the bottom and then you'll know what the card is because the bottom card is on top of the other card, you know? What were your thoughts about this first?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty basic. And honestly, so the problem was that he went into this trick, but despite the minimal set we have going on, it makes you hyper focused on our actors and what's happening. And I could not get over the background music because it sounds like you're in a haunted amusement park and at any moment Mark Wonka is going to break out into song, but like in a Sweeney Todd kind of way. Like
I'm going to play a clip of it right here. It's that's what it is.
Horrifying. And it does that for all 12 minutes and 1 second.
Yeah, it's just the same track.
They don't ever let silence happen. There isn't a different music. It's this high pitch. It sounds like if a cat choir got together and did their little meows and then they were like, that's it. Put it in the video. It's awful. So that's kind of where I stuck. But in terms of the party trick, I was kind of excited. But I decided it was kind of more like it was too basic. And it was I ranked it vanilla.
And is that your scale?
You'll hear. I ranked it vanilla.
Here's the thing. I do want everyone to know he's like, now if you make that cut, Jason, and he keeps going, I'll complete the cut. And he says it every single time. And it's almost a little maddening.
I'll complete the cut.
What do you get out of this? You know, it felt very much
He looks exactly like Fred Astaire almost in Santa Claus is Coming to Town. He's got the same face smile going on. Oh, God. And that's claymation. So that's burned in my memory.
Oh, shit.
You see what I'm saying? It's like horrifying. And his movements, too, eerily similar. I was like, there was something wrong because I did write Justin and Lindsay, Run for Your Lives. Why Are They in a Dark Basement? I think This Magician Hates Children, which I now take back Mark Wonka. I understand. But like very creepy vibes. And that's probably why, because I relate. I believe he is very similar to a claymation figure, and we know that's my favorite medium. Even though I do like that movie, it's complicated.
So the second trick is called the candy maker, because the first one didn't have a name, and now they have names. So on the table is like 4 bottle caps, which was a Wonka brand candy, and basically you put 4 bottle caps on the table, and then you like reach under the table and are like, surprise, I have 5. And the way you do it is you stick a 5th bottle cap to the bottom of the table with soap. Which, like, I knew he was going to say something, but he was like, now what you need for this is soap.
He pulls out a fucking bar of soap. I was like, where the fuck are we? Prison?
And
what's
it's like,
happening?
One, where did that come from? And true, it was like, I will say, I think that was the most surprising thing in the video. Was that
soap was a great plot twist.
The second ingredient to that kid. And you can tell the kids are like, what?
They're like, so? What? Also, I'd like to add that before all of this, like, I went into this completely blind. Felicia had done the research. I just thought this guy was dressed up as Willy Wonka and doing magic tricks. And at the candy maker, he starts saying something like, I, Willy Wonka. And I was, in all caps, I was like, oh, he's like actually acting like he's Willy Wonka, which then added a whole other layer as I watched the rest of this. Cause I was like, you're acting. But like we said, it's like, it's just Mark Wonka. But
yeah. And this is, he's the most composed Wonka by far. And I think this is very much, there's a very much a blurring of where is Mark Sweet and where is Wonka when you watch this. It's like, where does Mark Sweet end and where does Mark Sweet change into Mark Wonka? And one of the interesting ways we can see this being applied is the fact that this Wonka wears a wedding band. Which, if we're talking about in like the literal logical sense, it's just Mark Sweet's wedding band, but then that takes away the Wonka illusion, you know? So who is this Wonka married to? Can you imagine Willy Wonka going to get marriage papers signed?
Nelda Nerd.
That is his wife.
I'm down for Nelda Nerd. I'm down for a Nelda Nerd Mark Wonka moment.
Oh, beautiful.
I mean, my brain always goes to Fickle Grubber, but I think that's just because I see him everywhere and I want to put him in every story, even though I don't know anything about him or who he is. But I
love Fickle Grubber so much. I think it's clear that Fickle Grubber is one of my favorite characters, and I believe he's a frog man.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
He has to be a frog. I refuse otherwise.
So then the next trick is called.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, wait,
I ranked. Sorry. Yes. So I ranked
the
candy maker. I ranked 2 out of 10 sad clown status. Yes. This trick is lame.
Number 3 is the famous Paperclip mystery. So
brought to you by the Microsoft Paperclip of the 90s and early aughts.
It's like, okay, this is not famous one. It's the shittiest name.
I've never heard of this shit.
So he has a paper clip that is attached with a comically big piece of elastic to another paper clip that he tucks into his pants waistband, and he like holds the paper clip real close to him, and he's like, do you see the paper clip? And then he like moves forward a little bit, and then it's gone. But,
yeah, the kid he's like, he drops the paper clip in the kid's hand, hypothetically, and the kid closes it, he opens it, and the paper clip's gone. He's like, how did you do that? Like, very elaborate, kind of stupid.
And it's like, also, I think this really reminded me of the feeling as a kid. If anyone else was a kid who watched a lot of magic tutorial videos, you know about this, where they would be like, what you need for this is a Hyundai Sonata and 18 peaches. And you're like, I don't have those. I'm 7. I have no money. And like this one, it's like, all right, you need a comically large piece of elastic that you have no means to buy, as you cannot drive and do not make money. Good luck. Mm-hmm. You know, like I don't know where I'm an adult who can drive and could potentially purchase a comically large piece of elastic. I don't know where the fuck I would get that. Do you know what I mean?
As
like,
someone who gets drunk and goes to Walmart to buy craft items when she's feeling spicy, Walmart would have. Okay, well, anyway, but no, I think this trick is like, there has to be an easier way to do this trick. I feel like this is Like, I mean, and I don't know much about magic, but it feels too much for what it is. The effort is not worth the payoff, I would say.
Yes, I agree. And then what's your ranking for that one?
I said, this is too elaborate, not worth it. 1 out of 10, may the squirrels come claim you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the next trick is, I think I'm just gonna say
amazing nerds box.
This one fucking sucks. This trick is fucking. It's so bad.
Okay, hold on. No. I did not say the same thing.
What?
Interesting.
I thought this was so bad. Elaine, I need you. I'm going to read you the first line of my notes, and this is going to sound like such a burn, but it is genuinely what I wrote. The first thing I wrote is, okay, this one only works on 5-year-olds.
I mean, yeah, but I know. No. I'm with you. Okay. I'm with you, because the first thing I said was, okay, that was cool. A ruler. Well, okay, explain the trick and then I'll.
Listeners, what the trick is he's holding a nerd's box and then he pulls
like
a
an
ruler
ancient-looking nerd box, might I add. These things are bigger than the nerds you see today, so this is more like the size of your palm as opposed to.
It's a pretty big box, and it's like pushed up real close to his sleeve, and then he's like, "Surprise! I'm pulling a ruler out." What the trick is cutting the corner off of a nerd's box and shoving a ruler up your sleeve. That's the trick. And I figured that out within a few seconds. And I just said it wasn't good. It's just literally like, hey, did you know you can cut cardboard and put a hole in it? Like, that's kind of what the trick was to me, but I'll hear your take. I mean,
so kind of following what you were saying, I keep thinking about, like, these kids are supposed to be able to do this. I think this is the most doable to do in terms of ease, least amount of frustration. And honestly, I just would always giggle at that stuff. It's like, I know how it works, but it's like fun. I did write, okay, that was cool. A ruler to hit the children with, evil Wonka. Another thing is that the box said double dipped nerds, and I was like, what the fuck are these nerds dipped in? I've never heard of such a thing. Horrifying. What do you think they like? Chocolate is the only thing I can think of.
That's the thing I was thinking, and that sounds literally awful. Let me look up double dip.
Maybe it's like double stuffed Oreos. They just were like, let's do a double nerd shell.
Nerds double dipped lemonade on wild cherry. Oh, so it would be 2 different flavors on top of each other.
Interesting. Okay.
I will say nerds are one of my favorite candies of all time. I don't like grape flavored things except
purple
for
or pink.
Grape flavored. Either, but I hate grape flavored things unless it is. I am literally, no joke, I am fucking salivating thinking about nerds right now.
Felicia,
I am not joking.
Felicia, you're gonna hate me for that. You ready? I love grape flavor and I love banana flavor. Banana Pops, amazing.
Insane.
Banana Laffy Taffy, grape soda, fuck me up. But I don't like real grapes. Actually, I kind of dabble with green grapes, but
I was given a grape smelling. Do you know Smensels?
Okay, I don't know how I feel about smells. I will say I do remember Smelsels.
It was a grape smelling Smensel, and it gave me the worst migraine of my entire life at 7, and I almost threw it out a car window.
That's why.
But I think that's more personal. I fucking hated any scented things. Okay, that's not the point. So Nerds Box, this is my least favorite, but what did you rank it?
6 out of 10 would get a small chuckle and then everyone would instantly move on.
That's true. I mean, I think this is the least annoying to pull out at a party.
Yeah.
And then Willy Wonka's magic wishing bag.
The wishing bag.
I think this was kind of the best trick in my opinion. I don't know. I kind of liked this one.
Interesting.
And I wrote, this is one of the least floppy paper bags I've ever seen, which I really should have put that together. Basically, he was like, look, there's nothing in the bag. And then he was able to pull something out of it. And
like
it's just
5 different candies.
5 different candies. And it's just because he put a paper bag inside of another paper bag. But that was enough for me.
One of them was the Tartan Tinies. And I wrote down, Tartan Tinies should be Felicia. Should be Felicia's new nickname, which Felicia is Felicia's new nickname. So Tartan Tinies for Felicia. It's like you're on the log flume ride and there's no belt.
Felicia. Yeah. What's your log flume sona?
Sona?
Your Elaine, because that's the noise that people make when they go down the log flume.
Oh my god.
Would you rate that one?
Okay, so I said trick is too out of context for most situations. Kind of boring. Your elementary bus school driver would pretend to be impressed, and that's it. 2 out of 10.
It's fascinating how different takeaways we could have from the same video.
I would love for us to go to a magic show now.
I think it'd be fun. What's that fucking the magic club? the one in Vegas where they're like, you can't get in, but you can maybe. Is it Magic Castle?
I don't I don't know.
I don't know why I know about this. I literally have no reason to know about this.
Did it come to you in a dream or something?
No,
I'm
like
down.
That.
Okay, the image of you in Vegas just brought me so much hilarious joy.
Oh, what are you picturing?
I'm just picturing you like looking up scared at all the lights and me being like, let's go. And you're like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, sensory overload.
You make it sound like I'm your scared dog that you have to hide from fireworks. Just a little bit close to our dynamic, but that's not, I mean, that doesn't.
When we're in Vegas. Okay,
but
this is
still,
a specific scenario.
It's like I'm a trembling chihuahua you put in your fucking pocketbook.
But it's a cute chihuahua.
Okay, sure. All right.
We are not seeing Blue Man Group, though. I did see them. Actually, it was fun, but it was
I saw them
terrifying.
in Boston on a school trip. I remember them distinctly pouring cereal in a woman's purse, and I was just being like, is that okay? Are they allowed to do that?
Yeah, like, do they have no boundaries? Blue Man
I
Group
bought a shirt there, and I did
world.
wear it for months. It was very comfortable.
I love that their whole brand is, we don't know what it is either. That's literally like their whole.
Yeah, they're like
the tagline is, but they're like Blue Man Group. You can't describe it.
I did have a panic attack when I was handed a poncho and said, "You'll need this," and I said, "What? What do you mean I'll need this?" And I got banana pudding on me, but it was okay. It was fun, you know. So Willy Wonka's Magic Wishing Bag, great time, great funds, and yeah. So did you have any more thoughts before the end of the video? He wraps this shit up real quick. He is not dilly-dallying around.
He says, Lindsay, great job. Justin, you did a great job. There was a pause. A pregnant pause.
And then he signs off the video with the shittiest catchphrase I've ever heard in my life, which is, always keep magic a secret and don't tell anyone how you do the tricks.
And then he, through editing magic, disappears. And it's just these two children trapped in a abyss, a void.
Yeah. And that's the 12-minute Willy Wonka Secrets of Magic video.
And we talked for
still
half
can't
a
stop
month.
thinking about, imagine if you were a kid and you put the work in and actually send in your things, and you get a 12-minute VHS tape back.
Marketing, baby. All about that marketing game.
Awful. Brutal.
But I don't know, maybe, well, oh God, can you imagine being the parent? Like, you know how kids fixate on a movie and they watch it over and over and over again? Can you imagine this being the video that your kid watches over and over and over again?
Oh.
Yikes. I would accidentally run over that VHS tape with my minivan in the driveway. VHS tape in the driveway with my minivan, which has chrome hub thingy caps.
Do we both drive minivans?
I don't drive a minivan. After I got brutally crushed in a car accident, I now drive a Kia. But don't worry, guys. I'm okay physically. Mentally. I've also never described it as being brutally crushed, but it kind of is what happens.
I feel bad, but it's so funny.
It's really funny.
You get the accent going too.
My Kia Forte is also really depressing, that I have to say.
Okay. What the fuck have we learned from this? Like, this was fascinating, but I don't know how we apply this to the prequel. Like, what prediction can we make from this?
Well, see, I already made the prediction that there would be some close-up magic in the prequel, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I kind of already called it. And now with this, I'm thinking, interesting. But what this really set in for me is, I think we're going to get some of, and I don't think we've blatantly said this, but I think we're going to get the Dina-Sour Eggs back. Because I fucking want that. Dina-Sour specifically, the candy for marketing purposes.
In the movie or on the market?
Sorry, on the market. Outside of the movie, within the marketing kick up for this. I want Dina-Sour Eggs. I don't think we have anything exactly like that on the market. We have the gummy worms and the peaches or whatever, but I don't think we don't. The only dinosaur thing I know about is the amazing dinosaur egg oatmeal. That is, as a 27-year-old, one of my favorite things to eat. So.
And here's the thing, dinosaur egg oatmeal could easily be rebranded as Wonka oatmeal if I'm thinking
so
right,
easily.
because it's owned by Quaker Oats.
I think we talked about this. We were like, Quaker Oats, what the fuck? This would have been so easy for you. Why didn't you do anything
Literally.
when you had the chance? So maybe this will be their redemption.
Maybe that'll be it. I'm kind of thinking, I'm going to say, I feel like this is a safe prediction that one of these vintage Willy Wonka candies are going to make like a background appearance somewhere. So like on the back of like a candy store shelf, there's going to be like the Skrunkles, or like, I don't even think I'm saying the name right. I think it's just Skrunch.
It's just Scrunch, but you've been calling it Skrunkles and I highly enjoy it. So we're going with Skrunkles.
Skrunch and maybe some peanut butter oompas. Do you know what I mean? Like peanut butter oompas doesn't really work, but like maybe like a nod to Nerds or an nod to Tartan Timmy Tinies. Do you know what I mean? And like, I feel like, God, could you imagine if like everything about the movie was exactly the same, but just in the credits, instead of Timothy Chalamet, they said Timmy Tartan Tiny Chalamet, and that's how they credit him.
Love that. I would love that so much.
If we ever
Producers,
have him on the
know
podcast,
you're listening. Make it happen.
We will not introduce him as Timothy Chalamet. Okay. Let's say this is not a definite that we will do this, because you know what? Time passes and life is long. But like maybe in one universe where Timothy Chalamet somehow ends up on this podcast, we introduce him. We never say his full name. We only say Timmy Tartan Tiny. We're like, welcome to the pod, Timmy Tartan Tiny. And he's like, what? And we're like, nothing.
Most people would be like, oh my God, opportunity of a lifetime. We're like, how can we make this as stupid as possible and just like, make him mad?
The Wonka Well is divisive. Either he comes down with us or he gets shunned back to the village.
Go up to the light. We don't want any of what you're having, little Timmy Tart Tiny Poops.
If you come down here, your name is Timmy Tart and Tiny now. Chalamet's gone. He's gone. You're Timmy Tart and Tiny now.
Your name's been retired. Burned as your birth certificate.
Turn in your Screen Actors Guild membership card and get a new one emblazoned with Timmy Tart and Tiny. Get your awards re-engraved.
We don't even have our own names anymore. She's Felicia.
And this is Elaine. Elaine. And that's po-teetees. And we're here.
And those were our meat and po-teetees. Thank you so much for listening to this.
The problem is this language. This is becoming like a sub language. It's like becoming.
It is. You know, I didn't think when we started this we'd have like so much of our own lingo and slang.
I think when we eventually make a website, we're gonna have a fucking glossary.
It's embarrassing. We're gonna be like, if you're starting at like episode 10 or 20, here's what the fuck we're meaning when we say this, because it's embarrassing at this point.
And it's like we need to develop a shorthand, but also maybe we've gone a little too short with the hand. Maybe my hand is actually only just like a stump now, because it's a little wild. You know what I mean?
I think, Felicia, that we are our own creative beings, and that this is the journey we've gone on, and people have for some reason decided to join us.
Yes.
And if we all had to learn French, German, Spanish, or Polish in our youths, surely they can pick up some Wonka language.
That's true.
You know.
So thank you everyone for your renewed, devoted listenership and devotion to the cause of the Wonka rapture. We really appreciate everybody. It's been just like really cool getting to hear from everybody. And speaking of hearing from people, we have a listener palooza, as I've been calling it, and Elaine has not been calling it, episode submission that is just going to be like stuff sourced from you guys. So if you have stuff you want us to talk about, or if you like want to write something for the pod, well, not write something, but like if you want anything,
I'm still accepting lost chapters of our fan fictions. So I'm still throwing that out there.
We will take anything. Trust us, we'll take anything. But anything you feel like sending to us, we
Mad
really
Libs.
appreciate
Don't forget
it.
the Mad Libs. You can just send us a word.
Just send us a word. We're gonna fill out some Wonka Mad Libs just as we move on. You can also DM us on Instagram if email's a little bit like too stressful. I get it. You know what I mean?
We feel.
We get you. One more thing. A few people emailed us and asked if we had any way to like donate to support the podcast. So I set up a little like buy us a coffee. What is that? Ko-fi? What's that thing called? Hey everybody, this is editing Felicia to clear up the absolute mess of what we were saying earlier. If you'd like to support the podcast, go over to buymeacoffee.com/Wonka Watch. So if you for some reason feel like you want to, we would appreciate it.
Podcasting is a bit of an expensive hobby, unfortunately, so it would mean the world to us. Also, if we get enough donations and stuff, we would be able to then get more Wonka products to discuss with you, such as Wonka
if you
makeup
could help
palettes.
us recoup the costs of my $4 Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory Mad Libs book, that would be greatly appreciated.
My therapy is not covered anymore with my insurance, and now is $225 per session. So if we could like bring,
if you feel compelled to donate, we'd appreciate it.
Yes,
That'd
we
be
love
awesome.
you. Thank you so much. That'd be really beautiful.
But yeah, that's about it for us over here. Elaine, do you have anything else you want to say?
I just want to let everybody know, as a reminder, it's not that important.
It really isn't that important. You know, Mark Sweet actually called me yesterday and he said, "It's not that important, you bitch. Why are you looking up these old interviews?"
It was just Mel Stewart prank calling
me
you
on the internet. Yeah, it wasn't actually Mark Sweet. And I'm like, "Who is this?" He's like, "It's Milk Sweet." And it's like, no.
Milk Sweet.